You leave the conversation and your hands are shaking. You don't know why. They didn't yell. They didn't hit you. They didn't even use an insult you could clearly identify. But you feel drained, hollowed out, like something vital was stolen from you while you were busy trying to be polite. You replay the words in your head. I was just joking. You're too sensitive. I'm only saying this because I worry about you. It feels like love. It feels like concern. But it tastes like poison. We have all met them. The co-worker who smiles while sabotaging your project. The partner who gaslights you until you question your own memory. The family member who uses guilt like a sniper rifle. Precise, invisible, and deadly. They are the architects of chaos, and the reason you are losing against them is simple. You are playing by the rules of decency. They are playing by the rules of war. You are trying to use empathy to solve a power struggle. You are bringing a bouquet of flowers to a knife fight, and as long as you do that, you will remain their victim. You will remain the battery they drain to feel powerful. But what if you stopped? What if you stopped trying to be good and started being effective? What if you could look a narcissist in the eye and make them flinch? What if you could silence a manipulator without speaking a single word? What if you could turn their own games against them, so that every time they tried to hurt you, they only hurt themselves? This is not about becoming evil. It is not about becoming them. It is about understanding the mechanics of power. 500 years ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a small book that terrified the world. He didn't write about how things should be. He wrote about how things are. He stripped away the polite lies of society and exposed the brutal machinery of human nature. He taught that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. He taught that the one who controls the narrative controls the reality. Today, we are going to apply Machiavelli's ruthless philosophy to the modern toxic landscape. We are going to dismantle the toxic person's playbook, page by page. I am going to hand you 7 psychological weapons. They are heavy, they are sharp, and they are dangerous. Most people will never use them. They are too afraid of being seen as cold. They are addicted to the moral high ground, even while they are being slaughtered on the low ground. But you are here because you are done bleeding. By the end of this video, you will not just survive toxic people. You will baffle them. You will break their influence over you. You will become what Machiavelli called the prince, sovereign, strategic, and untouchable. But be warned, once you see the game, you can never unsee it. And once you learn to play it, you might find that you enjoy the silence that comes after the victory. Let's begin. Before you can defeat the enemy, you must understand what you are actually fighting. You think you are dealing with a person. You aren't. You are dealing with a pattern, a glitch in the human software that mistakes control for connection. Machiavelli wrote, "For this can be said of men in general, that they are ungrateful, fickle, pretenders and dissemblers, avoiders of danger, and eager for gain." It sounds cynical, it sounds dark, but if you are dealing with a toxic individual, it is simply a factual description of your reality. The first mistake you make is projection. You project your own conscience onto them. You think, if I explain how much this hurts, they will stop. If I show them kindness, they will reciprocate. You assume they have the same operating system as you. They don't. A toxic person does not view interaction as an exchange of value. They view it as the extraction of resources, your attention, your emotional reaction, your self-esteem. These are the resources. When you explain yourself, you are not building a bridge. You are giving them ammunition. When you get angry, you are not standing up for yourself. You are giving them supply. They are addicted to significance, and nothing makes a person feel more significant than knowing they have the power to ruin your day with a single sentence. Machiavelli understood that people are driven by 2 primary forces, fear and self-interest. The toxic person is driven by a deep, hollow fear of insignificance. They fill that void by controlling you. To beat them, you must stop trying to heal them. You must stop trying to save them. Machiavelli advised the prince to see the world as it is, not as he wished it to be. He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner effects his ruin than his preservation. If you continue to treat a snake like a puppy, do not be surprised when you get bitten. The shift begins here, right now. You must kill the nice guy or nice girl inside you, that part of you that wants everyone to get along, that part of you that craves approval. That part of you is a liability. It is the handle they use to open you up. You must replace that need for approval with a need for strategy. The game isn't about who is right. The game is about who is in control of themselves. The moment you lose your temper, you lose the round. The moment you cry, you lose the round. The moment you over-explain, you hand them the victory. So how do we take the power back? We start by becoming a void. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." The toxic person relies on reading you. They need to know your buttons. They need to know your insecurities. They poke you to see where you bleed. If they know you are insecure about your intelligence, they will make subtle jokes about your work. If they know you fear abandonment, they will use the silent treatment. They are mapping your psyche. Your defense is to become unmappable. In modern psychology, this is called the grey rock method. But we are going to take it a step further. We are going to apply Machiavellian silence. When they provoke you, your instinct is to defend, to correct the record, to say, "That's not what happened." Don't. Instead, offer them nothing. When they insult you, look at them with absolute flat neutrality. Blink once, then go back to what you were doing. When they try to guilt trip you, say, "I understand you feel that way," and then stop talking. This is not passive. This is aggressive silence. You are creating a vacuum. Toxic people rely on friction. They need you to push back so they can push harder. It's physics. If you lean against a wall and the wall disappears, you fall on your face. Be the wall that disappears. Let's look at a scenario. A co-worker, let's call him Mark, says in a meeting, "Well, I guess some of us have time to leave early while the rest of us do the actual work." He wants you to snap. He wants you to say, "I stayed late 3 times last week." He wants you to look defensive in front of the boss. The Machiavellian move. You look at Mark. You pause for 3 seconds. The silence stretches. It becomes uncomfortable for him, not you. Then you say calmly, "Interesting perspective, Mark." And you turn back to the boss and continue your presentation. What just happened? You denied him the fuel. You made his comment look petty and small because you didn't dignify it with a reaction. You signaled to the room that he is beneath your notice. This is therapeutic indifference. It hurts them more than any insult could, because an insult implies they matter enough to upset you. Indifference implies they don't exist. Machiavelli taught that if you cannot destroy an enemy, you should not annoy them. Petty arguments are annoyances. Indifference is destruction. It requires discipline. It requires you to swallow your ego in the moment so you can win the war in the long run. You must become a mirror that reflects nothing but their own behavior back at them. When a narcissist stares into a void, they panic. They ramp up the tactics. They get louder. They get meaner. This is the extinction burst. It's the tantrum a child throws when the parent stops giving in. When this happens, do not break. This is the sign that you are winning. They are escalating because their control panel is broken. They are pushing buttons and nothing is happening. Stay in the void. You are training them. You are conditioning them like Pavlov's dog. You are teaching them that their toxicity yields 0 reward. Eventually they will move on to an easier target, because predators are lazy. They want easy prey. If you are a stone, they can't eat you. Information is power. In the hands of a healthy person, intimacy is connection. In the hands of a toxic person, intimacy is leverage. Every secret you tell them, every fear you confess, every complaint you make about your boss or your partner, it is all filed away. It is all ammunition waiting for the right moment. Machiavelli advised the prince to keep his own counsel. A wise prince should never let his thoughts be known. You must learn the art of strategic ambiguity. Stop broadcasting your life. In the age of social media, we are trained to overshare. We post our wins, our losses, our mental health struggles. We think we are being authentic, but to a manipulator, your authenticity is a map of your vulnerabilities. If you post that you are feeling lonely, the love bomber knows exactly when to strike. If you tell your toxic mother that you are struggling with money, she knows exactly how to buy your compliance. You must become a fog. When they ask, "How are you?" do not give them the real answer. Give them the standard answer. "I'm good, busy, you know how it is." Be polite, be pleasant, but be vague. This drives the control freak insane. They cannot control what they do not know. If you are planning to leave a toxic job, tell no one. If you are starting a side business, tell no one. If you are having relationship trouble, do not tell the toxic friend who claims to be a good listener. Machiavelli said, "He who desires to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." Toxic people are professional data miners. They mine you for information to twist later. "I thought you said you hated that restaurant," they'll say 6 months later, just to make you look inconsistent in front of a group. "I thought you said you were broke," they'll say, when you buy yourself a new pair of shoes just to induce guilt. If you give them nothing, they have nothing to twist. This is difficult. It feels like you are being secretive. You are. But secrecy is a form of armor. In the animal kingdom, camouflage is not cowardice. It is survival. You are blending in. You are appearing normal, boring, unremarkable. This is the gray man theory applied to psychology. If you are boring, they get no drama. If you are vague, they get no leverage. If you are unpredictable because they don't know your plans, they cannot sabotage you. Imagine you are playing poker. You don't show your hand to the person who has been cheating all night. You hold your cards against your chest. They will try to pry you open. You're being so quiet lately. You never tell me anything anymore. I feel like we're drifting apart. Recognize this for what it is. It is a baiting maneuver. They are fishing for a reaction. They want you to say, "No, I'm not, I just..." and then spill your guts. Don't bite. Response: "Really? I've just been focused on work." So, how is your new car? Deflect, pivot, keep the spotlight on them. Toxic people love talking about themselves. Let them. While they talk, you study. While they talk, you are safe. You are gathering intel. They are revealing their hand. You are keeping yours hidden. That is the asymmetry of power. There is a concept in martial arts called judo. In judo, you do not fight the opponent's force. You use their momentum against them. If they push you, you pull them. If they pull you, you push them. You can do this verbally. Machiavelli knew that ego is the weakness of every tyrant. When a toxic person attacks you, they expect resistance. They expect you to say no. What happens if you say yes? Not yes to their demands, but yes to their reality. This is called fogging. Let's say a toxic parent says, "You are such a disappointment, you never visit." The resistance response: "I visit all the time. I was there last week, you're just never happy." Result: an hour-long fight. They win. The judo response: "You're right, I probably don't visit as much as you'd like." And then silence. Watch what happens. You agreed with the truth of the statement from their perspective, but you accepted no guilt. You didn't apologize. You didn't promise to change. You just agreed. You're right. Those two words are the ultimate conversation killers for a toxic person. They are gearing up for a fight. They have their gloves on. They are bouncing in the ring. And you just took off your gloves and sat down. They have nowhere to put that aggression. It bounces back and hits them. Let's try another one. A manipulator says, "You're acting crazy right now." Resistance: "I'm not crazy. You're the one gaslighting me." Result: "See, you're yelling. You are crazy." Trap sprung. Judo. Response: "I can see why you might think that." End of sentence. You are validating their perception without validating the fact. You are saying, "I see your illusion." This is maddening for them. They cannot fight agreement. It makes you slippery. It makes you impossible to pin down. Machiavelli advised that a prince should appear to be whatever the people need him to be, while remaining true to his own objectives. You appear to be agreeing, you appear to be submissive, but in reality, you are ending the interaction on your terms. You are preserving your energy. Every time you argue with a toxic person, you are leaking vitality. You are aging yourself. You are spiking your cortisol. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to prove you are right to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you? No. Give them the win so you can keep the peace. You're right. I'm terrible at loading the dishwasher. Then walk away and go enjoy your life. Let them have the dishwasher victory. You keep your sanity. This requires a massive reduction in ego. Your ego wants to scream. Your ego wants justice. But justice is rare. Peace is created. You must prioritize your peace over your pride. Machiavelli wrote, "Prudence consists in knowing how to distinguish the character of troubles, and for choice to take the lesser evil. The lesser evil is letting them think they won the argument. The greater evil is losing your soul trying to convince them." We have talked about presence, how to act when you are with them. Now let's talk about the most powerful weapon of all, absence. Machiavelli said, "Absence diminishes mediocre passions and increases great ones." In the context of toxicity, absence is your shield and your sword. Supply and demand. If you are always available, you are cheap. If you are always there to be the punching bag, they will punch. You must create scarcity. This is not just about no contact. Sometimes you can't go no contact. Maybe it's a boss, maybe it's a co-parent, but you can go low contact. You can go emotional absence. Stop answering the phone on the first ring. Stop replying to texts immediately. Stop attending every family gathering out of obligation. When you withdraw your presence, you disrupt their pattern. They are used to you being a fixture in their reality. When the fixture moves, they get disoriented. "Where have you been?" they will demand. "Why are you ignoring me?" Response: "I've just been incredibly busy." "How are you?" Ambiguity plus absence. You are training them to understand that access to you is a privilege, not a right. And when they abuse that privilege, access is revoked. Imagine you are a castle. The toxic person is a barbarian at the gate. For years, you have left the drawbridge down. They walk in, muddy the carpets, steal the silver, and leave. And you stand there crying, asking why they did it. Pull up the drawbridge. They will scream from the other side of the moat. They will throw rocks. They will tell everyone in the village that you are a cruel tyrant for locking them out. Let them. You are safe inside. Machiavelli knew that to rule, one must be independent. If you are dependent on their approval, you are a vassal. If you are dependent on their money, you are a serf. To beat them, you must build your own kingdom. Financial independence, emotional independence, social independence. The more you need them, the more they can hurt you. The less you need them, the more you become a ghost they cannot catch. When you finally stop caring, truly stop caring about their opinion, their power evaporates. It is like waking up from a nightmare. The monster was only scary because you were asleep. When you wake up, you realize it was just a shadow on the wall. Sometimes defense is not enough. Sometimes the toxic person corners you. Sometimes they threaten what you love. And in those moments, you cannot be a ghost. You must become the lion. Machiavelli said there are two ways to fight, by law and by force. The first is natural to men, the second to beasts. But because the first is often insufficient, one must have recourse to the second. Sometimes you don't just walk away. Sometimes you have to make sure they can never follow you. Machiavelli wrote a line that is often quoted but rarely understood. Men ought either to be well treated or crushed because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries, of more serious ones they cannot. This is the most dangerous lesson and the most necessary. Most people deal with toxic behavior in half measures. You snap back a little, you make a passive-aggressive comment, you complain to HR but then downplay it. This is a mistake. When you inflict a light injury on a toxic person, when you just annoy them or embarrass them slightly, you do not stop them. You motivate them. You trigger their revenge complex. They will go home, obsess over it, and come back with a bigger plan to hurt you. If you are going to fight, you must end the conflict. You do not fight to hurt. You fight to neutralize. How do you crush a toxic person in the modern world? You don't use violence. You use the one thing they cannot survive: shame. Toxic people operate in the shadows of social politeness. They rely on the fact that you won't make a scene. They rely on implied insults. Your move is to drag them into the light. The technique is called the spotlight. When they make a snide comment disguised as a joke in front of others, do not laugh. Do not get angry. Stop everything. Look at them with clinical curiosity and ask, "Can you explain what you meant by that?" Silence. They will try to brush it off. "Oh, I was just kidding. You're too sensitive." Do not let them escape. Keep the spotlight on. "I understand you were joking, but I don't get the punchline. Explain to me why that is funny." Now the room is quiet. The tension is high. They are sweating. They have to either admit they were being cruel or say something stupid that makes them look incompetent. You have stripped away their camouflage. You have exposed the predator. This is a crushing blow because it destroys their social mask. A narcissist would rather be punched in the face than be humiliated publicly. Once you do this effectively, once you show them that you are willing to make things awkward to protect your boundaries, they will recoil. They will label you as difficult, good. Difficult means hard to eat. You want to be difficult to digest. Another surgical strike is the documentation bomb. If you are dealing with a toxic boss or a manipulator in a legal setting, do not argue with them verbally. They are better liars than you. Switch to paper. Every conversation gets an email summary. Per our conversation, you stated X, Y, and Z. Please confirm. They will hate this. They will try to call you to avoid the paper trail. Do not pick up. "I'm in the middle of something." Send it in an email. When you present a stack of undeniable facts, you are not arguing. You are executing a checkmate. Machiavelli advised the prince to rely on his own arms, not the arms of others. Your arms are your records, your facts, your reality. Never threaten. Never say, "I'm going to report you." Empty threats signal weakness. Just act. File the report. Send the email. Make the statement. The blow must come out of nowhere, and it must be decisive. When they realize you are not playing a game of emotions but a game of consequences, they will retreat. The toxic person's favorite weapon when they lose control of you is the smear campaign. If they cannot control you, they will try to control how others see you. They will paint you as the villain, the unstable one, the abuser. This terrifies most people. We are social animals. The fear of being outcast is primal. Machiavelli addressed this. He said that a prince must avoid being hated, but he must not care about being feared. However, the best fortress a prince can have is the affection of his people. How do you counter a smear campaign? Not by defending yourself. If you run around trying to disprove the lies, you look guilty, you look frantic. You counter it with consistency. You build a reputation fortress. Be so undeniably competent, kind, and stable with everyone else that the toxic person's lies sound insane. If Mark tells everyone that you are an angry, unhinged lunatic, but every other person in the office experiences you as calm, helpful, and professional, Mark starts to look like the liar. You are playing the long game. The toxic person burns bridges. They use people. Eventually, their mask slips with everyone. You just have to survive until it does. Do not badmouth them back. If someone comes to you and says, "Hey, Mark said you were difficult to work with," do not launch into a rant about Mark. That makes it a he said, she said. Instead, use the high road pivot. That's a shame he feels that way. I actually think Mark is very talented at X. I hope he's doing okay. This confuses the messenger. Mark is spitting poison. You are offering grace. Who looks like the problem? You are using contrast. Darkness is most visible when placed next to light. Be the light. Not because you are a saint, but because it is the most strategic way to expose their darkness. Machiavelli knew that perception is reality. If you control your behavior, you eventually control the public perception. Let the toxic person dig their own grave with their mouth. You just hand them the shovel by staying silent. It takes time. It takes patience. But the truth has a way of rising, not because the universe is fair, it isn't, but because toxic people are addicted to chaos. Eventually, they will chaos themselves into a corner. You just have to be standing far enough away to not get hit by the debris. There comes a point where the only winning move is not to play. Machiavelli wrote about war, but he also wrote about conserving resources. There is no glory in fighting a battle that yields no profit. If a person drains your energy, stifles your growth, and brings you only misery, there is no strategy that will fix them. You cannot strategize a cancer into a healthy organ. You must cut it out, but you must do it correctly. Most people leave messily. They have a big blowout fight. They break up and get back together 5 times. They leave the door cracked open just in case. This is not leaving. This is pausing the torture. The Machiavellian exit is total. It is cold, it is final, and it is silent. You do not announce your departure. You do not write a long letter explaining your feelings. They don't care about your feelings. They only care that they are losing a possession. You simply cease to exist in their world. Block the number, block the social media, route the emails to trash, change the locks. When you disappear without a word, you rob them of their closure. Toxic people need the last word. They need to feel like they won the breakup, or that they are the victim of your cruelty. Silence gives them neither. It leaves them with a question mark that will haunt them for years. Why did they leave? Did they ever care? What are they doing now? And while they are haunted, you are building. The best revenge is not revenge. Revenge proves you are still thinking about them. The best revenge is apathy and ascension. Succeed, get fit, make money, find love that is gentle and safe. Do it for yourself, not to show them. But know that somewhere in the dark corners of the internet, they are watching. And nothing burns a toxic person more than seeing their victim thrive without them. It proves their deepest fear. They were not essential. You were the sun. They were just a cloud passing in front of it. Now the cloud is gone and you are shining. Machiavelli said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. It is not the relationship that defined you. It was you that gave value to the relationship. Take your value back." So where does this leave us? We have walked through the darkness. We have picked up the weapons of silence, ambiguity, and strategic aggression. Some of you might feel uncomfortable. Is this manipulation? Is this cold? Let me ask you a question. Is a surgeon cruel for cutting open a patient to remove a tumor? Is a soldier cruel for shooting a terrorist to save a hostage? You have been a hostage to your own empathy for too long. You have treated your kindness like a weakness, handing it out to people who use it as a weapon against you. Machiavelli wasn't a villain. He was a realist. He wanted to protect the state from chaos. You are the state. Your mind is the kingdom. When you adopt these strategies, you are not becoming a bad person. You are becoming a formidable person. There is a difference. A harmless person is not good. They are just helpless. A formidable person who chooses to be kind, that is true virtue. You are building a wall so that you can plant a garden behind it. Without the wall, the garden is trampled. Without the Machiavellian armor, your empathy is destroyed. By learning the dark, you protect the light. You are no longer a leaf blowing in the wind of other people's emotions. You are the wind. You are the architect of your own reality. When you walk into a room now, you see the strings, you see the games, and you smile. Not because you are playing, but because you know you don't have to. You have beaten them at their own game by transcending it. But freedom has a cost. I told you I would give you the tools, but I didn't tell you how heavy they are. When you see the truth about human nature, the envy, the greed, the manipulation, it can be lonely. You will lose friends who only liked you when you were weak. You will alienate family members who rely on your submission. You will stand apart. The air is thinner up here, but the view is clear. You are now awake, and you can never go back to sleep. The question is, what will you build now that you are free? If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I simply cannot discuss publicly on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That's the point.